Esta conferencia comenzará a grabarse.
Perfect. So, welcome everybody to this new session of the European Alliance Against Coronavirus. We are returning today to a critical topic, upskilling for the future. And in order to do that, we have with us today three very important speakers. André Richier, bonjour, merci beaucoup for joining us today again. Kiran Draney from the project, I hope to read it right, Fit for the Fabric of the Future. I don't know if it's that we will know very soon. And Paulo Leitao from the Polytechnic Institute of Braganza. It's important to know that we are recording this session and we will share it in our channels, both in the European Cluster Alliance ones and in the ECCP, European Cluster Collaboration Platform. So if you remain with us, you are allowing that, and if not, you are free to leave. We will have an introduction to the topic by André Richier. We will hear the experiences from the other two speakers, and we will later open the floor for an open discussion with all of you. So please don't hesitate to make suggestion, question, share different perspective or ideas, because this is an exercise of collective intelligence and it will be better as much as you participate. Thank you, and with that, I'm giving the floor to André Richier. Should I give you the presentation rights, André?
Yes, it would be useful if you could operate the presentation for me.
Okay, I will. I hope it's in the, I suppose that is this PDF. Let me check.
Yes, I sent PDF. So good morning to all. I'm very happy to speak to you again and provide a refresh of what we are doing to support and promote upskilling and reskilling for the European workforce. So my name is André Richier. I'm working in DG Grow, so DG Internal Market, Industry, Entrepreneurship and SMEs. And just to let you know that we had a big reorganization just a few weeks ago. So from the 16th of March, we have created country unit to follow national plans for the recovery. But we have also created dedicated skills services and profession units. So I'm working here now and coordinating all the skills related activities within DG Grow. We have also established a task force with DG Employment that brings together all the relevant services that support and follow the Pact for Skills. So could you move to the next slide, please? So I won't spend much time here because I introduced that in the past. So the focus in particular of DG Grow is related to the setting up of this large-scale partnership in the 14 ecosystem which have been identified in the industrial strategy last year. We are currently revising, updating the industrial strategy, and the adoption of this communication on a new updated industrial strategy will most likely be adopted on the 27th of April. So it may shift because it has already shifted, but the date which is communicated right now is the 27th of April. Can we move to the next slide, please? So another information here. So the Commission, of course, is working on the setting up and development of support services for the Pact for Skills. As you know, the Pact for Skills is aiming to support demand-led type of commitment and large-scale multi-stakeholder partnership. And for that, we will offer also knowledge hubs, networking hubs, And also what is very important is this guidance when it comes to funding and resources at EU and national level. So a call for tender will be published before summer. This is managed by DG Employment. We expect to set up these services by the end of this year, or most likely the first quarter of next year. So it means that there will be a full support for these activities related to the Pact for Skills. And as you know, the charter, of course, is the entry gate. I would say that the principle that everybody should agree when joining the Pact for Skills. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So I'm happy here to update on the progress of the various roundtables. So here you have the 14 ecosystem. So you see that RT means that the roundtable has already been organized, and this ticking green sign means that there is already a large-scale multi-stakeholder partnership which has been announced and which is currently been ongoing. So there are a few roundtables that will be organized in April, May, and June. So the last one will be on the 15th of June, will be on digital. But very soon we will have retail, creative and cultural industries. There is also energies, which will take place in April and May. So once we complete all this exercise, of course, the focus will be on the follow-up technical workshop and activities to decide on the setting up and agreeing on commitment for this large-scale multi-stakeholder partnership in those industrial ecosystem. Can we move to the next slide, please? So and here, this is also something new. So you may be aware that the blueprint for sectoral cooperation on skill has been the cornerstone of a European strategy on skills, skills intelligence and skills development. So a new call has been published with the new Erasmus Plus program. I've also sent information to Nina so that she can spread this in your network. But here you have the website. And it will cover the 14 ecosystems. So this time we have not selected, as in the previous wave, 6 sectors. So this time we open it to the 14 ecosystem from day one. So the idea, of course, is to start supporting activities in this field. Of course, we will be very cautious to avoid duplicating and double funding for activities which are already launched in the past. As you know, there are up to 22 blueprints for the time being. So, but this is an opening, and this is the first funding opportunity which is being made available right now. Can we move to the next slide, please? So, in terms of partnerships, so we have the 3 which have been announced already by the end of last year. So in automotive, microelectronic, aerospace, and defense. We have also more than 200 signatories of the charter and individual organizations which have made a commitment. For the time being, we don't have any regional or large-scale multi-stakeholder partnership, but I guess this is something that will be in the making and that we could announce before the end of this year. Can we move to the next one? Thank you. So I wanted to highlight a little bit and illustrate what has been done in the field of automotive, and those slides actually are taken from a presentation that we made at the request of the Portuguese presidency. As you know, member states need to submit a national recovery and resilience plan, and they were looking, of course, for ideas in terms of cross-border European cooperation activities in the field of skills, because upskilling and reskilling is one of the 7 components which has been advertised and promoted in the context of the recovery and resilience facility. So here it's quite ambitious. As you see, it's the aim is to upskill and reskill 700,000 people each year. It represents a potential total investment of 7 billion, public and private. So it's indeed turning ambition into reality, and it is heavily building, of course, on previous cooperation and activities in the field of automotive at European level. Can we move to the next slide, please? So it's, as you can see, there are different working groups and there are different fields. So now they are, since the 1st of January 2021, they have started to launch these working groups. They are very open, of course, to support participation and cooperation with stakeholders in individual companies and organizations. The real objective, of course, is to implement the commitment that they have included and presented early. But of course, they will be also active in participating at parallel or supporting project. For example, we have already organized a meeting between these three large-scale multi-stakeholder partnerships to see how they could exchange information, share information, and build synergies. Can we move to the next one, please? Thank you. And here is just to illustrate how there are two things. First is that they are heavily building, of course, on two blueprints, drives in automotive, and that's in the field of batteries. But they are also very much focused on implementing their work in regions, in clusters. Because as you know, some regions are more specialized and more interested in this sector, in this field. So this is why I believe that the sectoral dimension is very much also linked to the regional and cluster dimension. So we will see, I guess, in the future, those type of development more and more, and they have decided also to implement their results and their activities in pilot regions with a view to gain experience and with a view, of course, to develop and promote the uptake of best practice. Can we move to the next one? Okay, now I move to microelectronics. So microelectronics also is a field which is very important because it's also part of this goal for greater European sovereignty, as you know. But the needs, although the numbers are somewhat smaller, the needs are also very big. And there is still a significant gender balance in all these STEM and IT and the microelectronic related jobs and activities. So this is why they have decided to launch this partnership. And we will see in the next slide the commitment that they have made. So here you see that the level of investment corresponds to a potential of 2 billion for the period 21-25, which is the period that covers the European skills agenda, and to reach a large number of people, so 250,000 people in 5 years. So that's again, most of the focus is on upskilling and attracting, of course, new people, especially in the field of battery, where Europe has so far a small, relatively small pool of talent and competence. But of course, reskilling is very important, especially for production. Can we move to the next one, please? And by the way, you see that in the last bullet, the cluster and the region is very important. So we have seen this also in the draft plan that member states have submitted. This very smart specialization and focus on certain regions. So now if we look about also something that is specifically to the Saxony cluster, we see that we need to also quantify and estimate the effort it requires to upskill and reskill worker in terms of duration, in terms of funding, and to identify, of course, how this could be implemented and done. So here you have in this table an example that shows the calculation that has been made and the estimate that has been made for the budget required over the period 21-25 in that particular cluster. So we very much encourage, of course, all the partnership to proceed along this way, and you will see that the next one is also doing this So can we move to the next one? So the next one is aerospace defense skills in Europe. That's also a field which is very strategic for Europe, and where some regions and clusters play a very important role. Everybody think about Toulouse for Airbus, for example, but they are of course in different European countries. And so the Pact for Skills is very important for them and the European dimension to ensure that they have the necessary talent pool. Can we move to the next one? So here you see that they plan to reskill 600,000 workers and 200 employees in 5 years, and bring also a new entrance, so 300,000 in the next 10 years. So that represents also a quite significant level of investment. And you see from also the different bullets their priorities, which are very much related to, of course, digital and green transition. So these are really the priorities that, of course, have been defined in the industrial strategy and in the skills agenda. So they are very much aligned. And as you know, we have also asked member states to develop, for example, 20% of their budgets in their plans to the digital transition. Can we move to the next one? So here also you have an example of how this can be computed in terms of the investment that is needed per individual. And you see also that these regional clusters are very important. So I would very much encourage that synergies and cooperation is being established with those multi-stakeholder partnerships. Can we move to the next one? And this is referring to communication which has been adopted on the 9th of March. So this digital decade, and with this digital compass, as you see, government, skills, infrastructure, and business. And here you have this goal by 2030 to have 80% of the population digitally active and literate, and to reach a total number of 20 million ICT specialists, which is a great ambition. So that just shows the level of motivation and commitment from the European Commission, but also of the different stakeholders which have been consulted when these targets have been defined. Next one, please. And that, of course, builds on a previous effort to promote digital skills. So in the context of IT specialists, the European Incompetence Framework, which is a European standard developed and maintained by CEN, so the European standardization body, and also DICCOMP, which is the Digital Competency Framework for citizens. Next one, please. And here I want to recall again this Digital Skills and Job Coalition, which has allowed Europeans to get access to up to 16 or 17 million digital training over the last 4 years. And you have also dedicated effort to promote and foster digital and IT professionalism under this coalition with pledges which have been made, and on 20th and 22nd of April, so quite soon, you will have a conference on IT professionalism if you go to this website, itprofessionalism.org. Can we move to the next one? And here I want also to recall the expert group which has been set up in the context of the support of the European Commission to clusters, and the recommendation that they have formulated. So we want to further, of course, work on this initial diagnosis and recommendation to see in the future, hopefully, large-scale multi-stakeholder partnership involving regional clusters. Can we move to the next one? And that's, for example, the slide that we presented to the Council working group at the invitation of the Portuguese presidency, to highlight our strong motivation to build on leading industrial clusters in Europe to support the Pact for Skills and the implementation of sectoral cooperation and also large-scale multi-stakeholder partnership in the ecosystem. Can we move to the next one? And this is not also only at sectoral level. The cross-sectoral level also is very important, because we see that some sectors will be restructuring heavily in the coming months. It's already the case, and we will need to move workers from one sector to the other. So this cross-sectoral mobility and reskilling effort is very important. It will take more resource, more time than upskilling, obviously, but that's very important. And we want to ensure that there is good cooperation with employment agencies, in particular, to ensure good placement of and the selection of relevant training, and link this with individual learning account when possible, to facilitate, of course, the uptake of training. Next slide, please. And I just want to also refer to a proposal that is being made by the European Roundtable of Industrialists. Now it's called, I think, the European Roundtable for Industry, sorry. We need to update this slide. So which propose precisely to develop pilots and experiment to reskill people and to facilitate their mobility from one sector to the other. And that could be piloted in 2022 in several regions. So that's also linked to our effort to promote action at local and at city level to help that reskilling as close as possible to the needs and as close as possible to the citizens. Next slide, please. So, and here I will finish with this slide, which shows the website on Europa that lists all the relevant funding sources. And that will be the element and the information on which we will build this guidance facility in the future. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, André. Excellent and very intense presentation. We should return to it for sure. And I fear that we will not have all the time that we will need to properly review it. Okay, but anyway, we will first go to the next speaker, Kiran Delaney. Are you there? Yes, I can see you.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Should I give you the presentation right? So
please, yes.
Okay.
We'll try and see that work.
You should have them now.
Yes. Okay. So hoping you can see the screen now.
Yes, we are seeing your screen. Perhaps you could put it in full screen mode.
Yes, 1 second now. Should be there with you in a second. There we go.
Wonderful. Please go on. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me this morning. What I want to talk about very, very briefly is the project Fit for FOF, Fit for the Factories of the Future. So the whole idea of the project is really about amplifying the voice of the worker in discrete manufacturing technology environments. So we've built a project, a coordinated action, which is really about developing new approaches using co-design to do this, and also piloting a number of educational activities to demonstrate new approaches for this process of amplifying the voice of the worker and bringing the learner more into this. One of the key kind of foundations of the project is building this co-design and collaborative effort on an understanding of the skills gaps, the skills requirements, technology trends, and identifying a number of job profiles. And this is what my colleague Paolo will talk about in a few moments' time. So in order to be able to frame and develop a process of co-design, we will inform that process with accessible stories and pictures and profiles. And this is something that actually has been quite a challenge for us in the project. And we've been able to assemble quite complex and detailed pictures of what is going on. Translating and sharing that with all the stakeholders is a key part of making sure the co-design effort works. And a lot of work and effort has gone into this. The focus is around empowering the workforce, and it's one of the central approaches. And in developing some co-design activities, we've also taken on the challenge to expand and develop and share that further afield. So we have a range of knowledge transfer and knowledge exchange activities, which are up and running at the moment. Designed to support and empower other communities beyond the pilots that we've developed ourselves. The partnership involves a blend of industry and educational partners across Europe. You can see we have partners in Portugal, so our colleagues in IPB and Paulo. SEAGA CFI is a VET in Paris. Our own organisation in Ireland has just gone through the process of translating to university status, so we're now known as Munster Technological University, and we collaborate with Boston Scientific, who are one of the pilot partners in this. We also have the University of Northern Denmark, Steinbeiß in Germany, a cluster called MISAP in Italy, and Arctic in Romania, who are manufacturing appliances. So we actually, as it stands at the moment, have 7 different pilots which are running through the industry and educational partners to progress the process of co-design that we're talking about. The general approach is around 6 technology areas, ranging from human-machine interaction through to cobots and collaborative robots. And we've been looking at existing skills initiatives and also developing a picture of skills gaps and needs in those trend areas. This has been translated into skills profiles and jobs profiles, and these are being fed into the process of co-design and upskilling that are part of the pilot phases of the project. And then we're going to a sequence of refining this approach to progress the process, because one of the key outcomes of the project is to ensure that we have practical processes that can be used by workers in their own work environments. So the driving implementation activities and pilots are around 4 core areas: automotive technologies, which is framed with our colleagues in SEAGA in Spain, smart products and manufacturing through MISAP in Italy, medical devices through Boston Scientific here in Ireland, and smart manufacturing appliances, and in general a sort of state-of-the-art smart manufacturing, smart matching approach between workers and machines in Arctic in Romania. Our process is to kickstart this through the rolling process of analyzing needs, which Paolo will talk about, and then to design and build a co-design approach that allows new training programs to be developed within these sites and progressed and developed to high quality. And then this 3rd phase of the project is to develop and replicate these through the educational partners activities. So this is why we have 7 different pilots working throughout the project. Okay. The other element which is around capacity building has really been driven by our colleagues in SIAGA to develop and reach out and build links with other partners, other communities across Europe. So this is one of our key drivers, and a lot of this is being developed through activities that we have in our LinkedIn area and also on our website. So please, link into those and join us in what we're doing. Because this is a key part of the process. So what I'm going to do now is just very quickly run through the sort of process and progress that we have to date and give you an idea of where we're at the moment, where we're going. One of the things that we've been addressing is capturing the complexity of the foresight challenge at a European level, but also looking at how it is interpreted in a regional context. This is what Paulo will talk about, but it's a key part of this. And a lot of this involves getting an accurate picture of what's going on and translating it to what the clusters and communities need in order to be able to make informed decision, and then make this a sustainable process that's continually updated effectively, and also is something that's got an ownership. That these organizations have a level of agency in how this process is developed and continued. Our core focus is around building scenarios from the technology areas and from the development and focus on discrete manufacturing. Looking and I suppose this is one thing where there's a differentiation. Where companies have a business event that they want to progress, we couple the innovation and process development that's required with the upskilling profiles and the new skills requirements, and make that part of the co-design process from the very start. It gives a target for the companies, and also it allows these companies to build pathways to achieve these changes based on their understanding of their core strengths, their existing capabilities, and the development of pathways between where they are and where they want to go. So that process is a relatively complex one because you have multiple stakeholders involved. You have the employer with a focus on the business drivers, trends and profiles that are needed. You have the employee with their focus on improvement and also pathways to get them more involved. Personal development is a key part of this, but also their ability to impact positively on their working environment. So to provide enablers for that. And the third aspect of this is the facilitator or the educator in this process. In many cases, this educator could be an external trainer or an upskilling provider. But there's quite a mix in the styles that are developed here. And I suppose one of the key aspects for educational providers will be maintaining and improving the quality of delivery and building it into the upskilling process within a working environment. So there's quite a lot going on between these kind of driving stakeholders, and it's a process that needs to be managed. So one of the things that we've developed through this process is an expanded kind of work story that companies can go through that allows them to pick and develop their new target. So this slide is relatively complex in the sense that it puts everything together in one go. But one of the things we can do is we can help companies work relatively quickly through this process, looking at their targets and ways of getting there by building on their strengths. And the key enabler for a lot of this is what we call our co-design model. And like many things, because what you're doing here is you're developing a shift or a change process, which is challenging in itself. One of the things that you do is you prepare the ground, and the co-design process is not simply a process of getting the relative stakeholders all in the room at the same time. It's about a structured process of designing and developing what the needs are and exploring effective scenarios that are likely to work for the participants, then building a design and implementing a collaborative co-design process, so that then you can pilot and transition the activities into practical processes that work in your work environment and are effective. And one of the things that let's say we see and is necessary is to be able to find ways to do this relatively quickly. So we've developed what we call the ICOED process, which is built on a range of previous co-design initiatives that have been developed out of the literature. And what we've done with this is we've built it into an 8-step program that can be run completely online. So we use Miro platform for the pilots that we're running at the moment. And you can do this whole process in 3 to 4 sessions, and the total contact time among stakeholders is between 8 and 10 hours. So it's a manageable process, provided you get your targets, your scenarios, and what you view as the fixed preconditions in place. This is a process that you can then move through relatively quickly. And it's something that you can then frame and deliver as an educational design that can be implemented in the workplace. So this is an example of the style of the co-design activities and the implementation activities that we're doing in the Fit for FOF project. We're focusing on a range of different challenges. So for example, 2 of the pilot partners that we're working with are Arctic and Boston Scientific, who are major multinationals, but 2 of them are also MISAP in Italy and EAAC Re in Spain, who are clusters. So one of the things that we are looking at is how you take the type of co-design process that I was just talking about and apply it through clusters like MISAP and EAAC in a manageable way, working with multiple companies at the same time. And this is with a particular eye on understanding how we do this with SMEs and groups of SMEs. So again, there's an approach and a set of practices and a set of guiding activities and what we hope best practices being developed through our piloting activities, which are rolling through the course of this year and will be shared as we go through the knowledge exchange and knowledge transfer activities. And one of the things that we'll be doing is encapsulating all of this in a framework, which we're calling Fusion. Now, the whole idea here is to continue the work on providing accessibility. So we're developing what is essentially a nested process to go through this change. So from foresight through design to activation or transition, and developing a nested process so you can dig into each of these steps more deeply, but it remains accessible. So digging in and developing new solutions across different disciplines can be handled more steadily and more effectively through the implementation of these activities. So back to our capacity building, what we want to do over the course of the next number of months is share in this process and also welcome concepts and ideas, because we view these as prototypes. They're not the finished article, and they're part of a continuous improvement process that we want to share with other clusters and communities. And it's part of our outcomes and impacts to try and share this as widely as possible. And I suppose this is where we are very happy to participate in today's event to sort of continue our journey on this and also get feedback and make connections with yourselves. So thank you very much.
You are very welcome, Kiran. Thank you. Excellent project. Congratulations. We have with us, I see Borja La Pena from EAAC. It's a pity because the time is pressing us and we have only 22 minutes for the rest of the session. So I need to go directly to Paulo. Welcome, Paulo. Please be short as possible, because we should have some minutes to speak about everything, and I don't know if it will be possible. But anyway, it's your turn. Take your time. Thank you, and join us, please.
Good morning. I need to have permissions to share.
Yes.
Okay. So can you see my screen now?
I see fit for. Okay, it's your screen. Yes, please go on.
Yes.
Thank you.
So good morning to everybody. I will try to very shortly to present some results related to the identification of new job profiles for the Factory of the Future, included in the Fit for Fourth project. And very shortly, so to contextualize, so we are facing these changes in occupations and job profiles. Usually they are linked to important factors like social changes, human behavior, these pandemic periods like we are living now, but also these new technologies and means of communication that is related to the digitalization that we are taking in consideration in the Fit for Fourth project. And to be fast because of the time, so there is several reports that are predicting impressive numbers related to this challenge, to this change in the careers, in the job profiles, and in skills that are required for the Factory of Future workers. And as a result, we are facing this problem that is millions of people may need to acquire new digital skills, and others may need to change careers and improve their skills. And the objective of this study as part of the Fit for Fourth project is to identify new job profiles that emerge with the introduction of digitization. And we, as Kieran talked about, we consider in the project 6 technological areas that are related to cobots, additive manufacturing, mechatronics and machine automation, data analytics, cybersecurity, and human-machine interface. Our methodology to identify this catalog of new job profiles considers several inputs: the literature review, the automatic analysis of recruitment repositories like Glassdoor and LinkedIn, and also the feedback from experts. So we combine all of these inputs. We use several iterative process, always using data analytics to achieve a final catalog of more than 100 new job profiles. During this process, we also make the correlation between the job profiles and the technological trends, and also with soft skills and hard skills. Only to clarify, and in our classification, we split the new job profiles in two types. One is a completely new job profile that does not exist in the past, or an existing job, but we've now enhanced with a new profile due to these emergent digital skills. We also classify a profile with the type, like architect, developer, engineer, specialist, and technician, and a level. In this case, we consider the operational, tactical, and strategical levels for the profile. And taking all of these in consideration, we reach these more than 100 new job profiles that are split according to these 6 technological areas. And here we can see the new job profiles for the data analytics technological sector. Each one of the job profiles are classified as a number for easier analysis. And also in these graphs that shows the dispersion of the new job profiles according to the technological sectors in the left, and according to the levels of profiles, that is operational, tactical, and strategical. We have also the number showing what is the identification of the job profile, and the color that shows what is the type of job profile. And it is interesting to see that the majority of new job profiles are in fact, new job and new profile, something that is new and not exist in the past. And also, it is interesting to see that the majority of the new job profiles are classified as statical level. If we take a look in the skills, so we achieve important conclusion that is soft skills are very, very relevant in these new job profiles, and these soft skills are linked and dependent of the type of profile. For different type of profiles, different skills are required. Some are transversal, like communication skills and teamwork, that are shared by several types of profile. There are others that are more dedicated to one type of profile. For example, creativity is more related to architect or engineer and not so much to technician. If you take a look in the art skills, the art skills are more related to the technological sectors, and we have a larger number of technological the art skills. In this case, some technical skills are transversal again. For example, these artificial intelligence and machine learning are transversal for all of the analyzer sectors, but some are more dedicated to one specific sector. For example, augmented reality is more dedicated to human-machine interface, or this programming robotics that is more related to collaborative robotics. Having all of these data collected related to job profiles, skills, but also technological trends, we developed a web tool that allows to analyze the correlation between this data and analyze the upskilling needs. Our idea is to have this tool working as a Wikipedia for the job profiles and upskilling needs, where different actors can provide their feedback with new data, or can also play with the tool to analyze and extract information related to upskilling needs. For example, learners can play with the tool to see what are their upskilling needs for their future career direction. Companies could use the tool to identify the upskilling needs for its business process and analyzing the impact of some trends and job profiles in these upskilling needs. And also education providers can use the tool to identify opportunities to design new training programs for these upskilling needs. The tool is available in this link. I will show very briefly. So we have here the tool. We can see the existing data at the moment and can be fed with more data. So we can take a look in job profiles, and we have the list of job profiles classified with the name, the sector, the description of each one of the job profile, the list of soft skills, the list of technical skills, and the classification in the type and level. This is the list of 100 job profiles. You can modify, you can see, you can add a new job profile. You can go also to other areas like trends, and you can see several technological trends. For each trend, you have the description and the keywords that describe the trend. So you have, for example, here advanced robotics, we have connectivity, we have cyber physical space, you have the value of data. So you can modify, you can add, and in this way it is a growing process and a continuous process. The relevant part is the matching functionality, because we can play with this all of the data, correlate to the data, using some text mining and some advanced algorithms to correlate the data. So what we can do is select the focus of analysis. For example, the sectors. I will select the two first, but you can select only one or all. You should also select what are the trends that you want to analyze the impact in the job profiles. I will select the connectivity and the value of data, and I will submit, and the tool is analyzing and gets this data. What is this data? Is what are in the right, the list of job profiles that are impacted by these two trends. Some job profiles are only impacted by one trend, for example, this risk analytic, but some are impacted by the two trends. So in the middle, they are connected to the two. We can proceed and go deep in the analysis. We can select not all of the job profile. We can make a kind of refinement. So I will select some. The cybersecurity engineer, the artificial intelligence engineer, and we can select another one, cloud. So we can refine the job profiles and see what are the skills that are in this set of job profiles that are important. That is the upskilling needs that we need. We need to select if we want hard skills or soft skills. So we select hard skills, and the tool shows what are the relevant skills for that three job profiles, organized in two dimensions. So the first dimension is the gap of the skill. So it is what is the current gap that is in what we have now and what we want to achieve, and impact. That is, if it is impacting the business process in a significant manner or not. So we have the data analytics. Here is artificial intelligence. We have programming with less gap. The impact, for example, for the security privacy in these job profiles are bigger, for example, than programming. So we can have a snapshot of this gap analysis in this graph. We can, instead to have the hard skills, we can select the soft skills, and we have the same analysis. So here we have the results for this. So we have creativity, critical analytical thinking, we have integrity, teamwork. So again, we have the results for this analysis in the skills in these two dimensions that is helpful for the user. We can export the results of this skill analysis using this functionality. So we have this CSV file that will feed the co-design process that Kieran talked some minutes ago, and particularly the phases 2 and 3 of the 8 phases of the iCode process. So this tool is linked to another tool that is supporting the co-design process that is related to the development of new training programs. So you can use, you can come and play, and particularly you can provide your knowledge, your expertise in feeding with more data in the tool. So as final message, we are assisting this reshaping in the workforce profile. A significant number of job profiles are becoming obsolete and new job profiles are emerging. The soft skills are very, very relevant in these new job profiles, and the technical skills are more transversal, are larger, but the digital skills are required in all of these 6 sectors that we have analyzed. And this is it. I can conclude the presentation. Sorry for the delay.
No. You have been very short and to the point. Thank you. Obrigado, Paulo, and congratulations. Wonderful tool. And I am sure that we will make use of it quickly because it will be very helpful for our work. So we have 7 minutes, and I am sure a lot of questions and comments. So the floor is open. Who is the first? I have many questions, so please don't
Yes,
hesitate.
Antonio, can I make a question to Paulo very quickly? Paulo, how are you? And congratulations for your speech. You are from Bragança, that is a very interior region in Portugal that collects with Castilla y Leon. How do you see the application of this tool in order to attract more competence and skills in a region like yours that needs more people, more investment, and things like that?
So this is good and interesting. Thanks, Chaim, for the question. In fact, we have 4 pilots in the project, as Kieran talked about, but we had an additional one that is outside of the project. That is one company installed in Bragança, and we want to test in Bragança the impact of this tool. And we are using this tool with the company. We are using the tool and the co-design process to support them in identifying the upskilling needs and the training programs that they want to have to improve their competence. So the results are, we are in the middle of the process, but the results are very, very promising. And in my opinion, this could support not only big companies, but particularly small companies that don't have enough resources for innovation and this kind of training alone. And this can be a very important instrument to support them.
Thank you, Paulo. Andre, one question for Andre Richer. How can we improve the participation of clusters in the program? What kind of recommendation could you give us, or opportunities, or how can we do it?
In the context of using or getting involved in what we're doing?
Yes, for sure. The global
Okay.
path for skills and your activities, for sure.
Yes. Well, one of the things that we've been focused on from the start is developing processes that are accessible. So, as Paulo said, we developed a number of industry pilots, which we have learned a lot from, and now we're implementing the kind of foresight and upskilling analysis and the co-design process. So in a very practical way, I think any cluster organizations who want to get involved can actually start using some of these tools directly. And these are prototypes. So as well as using them to benefit, you can also share the knowledge that you gain, because we see a lot of commonalities across the pilots, but there is no generalized unified solution. We have to be able to combine best practice in co-design with the reality of what an individual cluster faces. And the cluster is the expert when it comes to their own members and their own participants. So what we suggest is work with us, use the tool, use the co-design process, and I think it can be of benefit to everybody. And also I would expect that with the co-design process, because it's developed over 3 or 4 steps, and you can do it over a period of weeks, you get positive results quickly, and you can then work towards the next step. So one of the things that we can do is we can have further online events to connect and walk people through how the co-design process works. And then you can adapt it, the cluster can adapt it to their own practical approaches. It's not designed to overwrite what you already do well. It's designed to work side by side with it.
Thank you, Kieran. And we can explore that possibility, yes. Thank you very much. Okay, last minute. Andre, are you there? Andre Richer?
Yes, I'm here, yes. I think a very concrete way to follow up on that would be to invite the leads of the multi-stakeholder partnership in those areas I was talking about with you. And also I was mentioning the proposal, the European Roundtable, which is very much focusing also on pilots in region and clusters. So we could have a kind of brainstorming session one day just to discuss about how practically we can develop synergies. And as you see, with now this Erasmus Plus call, I mean, there will be concrete opportunities also for project to be submitted in the coming month. So I would be ready to help facilitating these kinds of discussions.
Perfect. I for sure we will encourage the cluster community to participate in the Erasmus Plus call. And I think very interesting the possibility to organize that roundtable. It's in your hands. You put the date, okay, Andre?
Okay, so we discuss on that to make it happen. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So it's time to close. It's a pity because I am sure that there are many things that could be discussed. So for sure we will have more occasions, but anyway, that doesn't stop now. It's just a session to encourage you to continue working on this, and I'm sure we will meet again soon with the same topic. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Obrigado.
Thank you.
See you.